Hey there guys, gals, and non-binary pals, it's DMG and welcome back to Blitz, and today we are going to have a back to basics video on Mirage. On a completely unrelated note, if you have been watching my streams, some of them have not been saving. So the ones that have saved from the app and are able to be uploaded have been uploaded. The other ones I just have to delete. So it really is a live show. I'm trying to troubleshoot the issue. I can't seem to find a solution right now. I've been looking at various ways to fix it, and so far I have been unsuccessful. But if you have been tuning into my live streams, I want to say thank you. I'm sorry that I can't save them at this time, but hopefully that will be resolved. I mean, if not, it'll just have to catch it live, right? You know, I guess it's too bad. You know, at least it's better than the poor attempts I've been having with the previous live streaming apps I've been using. So anyways, this is Mirage. Mirage got removed from high tiers. I didn't really see a problem with how Mirage was played. I thought that both sides are pretty balanced, actually, because it's only encounter. It's not like there's a significant cap advantage on one side, and the encounter cap is so open. I don't care if you go to the desert side, it's gonna get reset. But anyways, if you're in a light tank or a medium tank, or even a fast heavy like a KV-1S, this is your first opening move that you want to make, usually. But especially if you're in a light or a medium tank. If you're in an LTTB or a VK2801, this is where you want to be. This exists on both sides, however, the other side uses a bush. I believe this side is the safer side, or instead of this side, let me speak in spawns, right? The north spawn? Yeah. So the north spawn is better for this because you have this nice little ridge, and even tanks with poor gun depression can poke over and spot like this. So you'll most likely be able to spot heavy tanks crossing to the medium side, medium tanks crossing to the other side, and if anyone's dumb and wants to come to the middle, you're just going to light them up and be able to pull back. This is a great haul down position to use for a lot of different kinds of tanks. And yes, let me reiterate that again, even tanks with poor gun depression can use this area. So really good opening move to make. It spots them. It gives you information on where they're going. Because if you see heavy tanks going this way, well, you probably know that this side, that the waterfall side is open. But then if you see medium tanks crossing to the heavy side, well, you're probably gonna, say that the oasis side or the ocean side is open. I mean, granted, if you see heavy tanks, you're going to spot heavy tanks crossing to the other side more so than you will spot medium tanks crossing to the heavy side, simply because mediums or lights have better camouflage and it will be a little bit more difficult for you to see them sometimes. But heavy tanks, since they're slower, they have worse camouflage, there's a large margin for error for them, or at least for you, so that you can spot them. It should be pretty easy. But you can go here, make maybe 2 or 3 shots, but you don't want to stay here, right? Because Mirage is one of these maps where people like to play out on the flanks, both flanks. And there's not a lot of mid-fighting like around in this area. I mean, if it does happen, it's a result of a flank fight. It's not because people choose to fight near this cap circle. So just keep that in mind. Now, like I said, only go here for like the first 2-3 shots unless they give you such an easy farm that you're just going to be able to continue spewing out damage. Now, the other side of this is that you need to get out of here. In the event that you start getting stuck, or if you need to move, there is a good way to get out of here and a bad way to get out of here. Let me show you the bad way. Going across like this, trying to run away like this is bad. Why is this bad? Because you're on a flat ground right where these bushes are. And if you think that, oh, I'm going to flank right after I get my first few shots off, and heavy tanks or even medium tanks or tanksters have boarded these 2 bush areas right here, you're going to get flogged. You will get spotted and you will die. And granted, you may have a fast tank, but I'd rather just not take the risk of it, right? Because I've done this before, and let me tell you, 1 or 2 times has been enough for me to learn that this is not a good idea. So don't try and drive across this area, right near the cap circle, to get across to the enemy spawn. Now, if you want to continue flanking to the enemy spawn, what you do is, instead of going through there, you first check like this, or if tanks are already spotted or busy, or if you know where tanks are, you don't have to check, but I'd check here, at least bait them a little bit, see if they fire a shot. If they go away, then go like this. Yes, you may get flogged in the ass once, but at least you're not getting killed by unspotted, invisible tanks sitting in these bushes over here. So by going this way, this prevents you from taking enormous amounts of damage. And then you're free to move like this. You can go all the way around this rock, and then, hey, you're on the flank. So that's the safe way to do it. If you're trying to escape from this location to the waterfall side, you're just backing down, turning around, and from this position, I'll just go up here again. So you just back down, just imagine I'm backing down, boom, turned around, and you're out. You want to be out as quick as possible. You don't want to tarry in that position, because if you get surrounded, you know, there's lots of there's lots of rolling dunes or hills in this case, and your teammates might not be able to help you because they may not have the shots available to shoot the other guys because of all the hills, right? So it's important to know when to run away from that position. However, it is probably the best opening move you can make for a light tank or a medium tank. Now, out on the flank, it's kind of a different story. This is all about holding and grinding people out from positions. Now, a really good position you can take with, I mean, originally you could go here with an IS-7, but just good, strong, heavy tanks, or even tanks that have strong frontal armor profiles. You can take them around here and abuse, you know, this rock, this little hill that's kind of rolling out and sloping down this way. And you can just put out a bunch of hurt on anybody trying to cross in this area. It's also very good because you can support in this location here. However, keep in mind that because you can support that location, enemies can shoot you from over here too. So you don't want to have your team all the way back over here and you up here, because then you're liable to get shot in the side, which then means you can always pull up like this, but then again your front is exposed, and if you're in a tall tank, your turret will be exposed. So don't try and go here in a KV2 expecting to be able to hide. It's not going to happen. So the flank is more important in this case than that spot, because that's really the only decent spot. You can sit tank destroyers in the back, and I'll show that once we re-enter the game. It exists on both sides, and that reminds me, I'll show you the spotting, the medium spotting location, or the light tank spotting location on the other side. But let's go over quickly where you can place tank destroyers. Personally, I don't think tank destroyers have much of a place on this map. You have to sit them at the back. They have to be at this red line, essentially. This should give you some decent shots, but keep in mind, if you get spotted, there is no good available cover you can really use. So, tank destroyers that have really poor camouflage, or really poor camo after firing, that's not the place to be. Another place you can go for tank destroyers, you can sit all the way back here. However, this is good and bad at the same time. It's kind of a double-edged sword. Sure, they have to come and get you, but once they come and get you, you can't run anywhere. So maybe this is for your ISU 152s or something like that, right? You know, but keep in mind that you can't run from this location. It'll be really hard to get out of here once you get spotted, right? Because all you really have is this rock or this rock, and past that, if they decide to come and push you, you're gonna die. So keep that in mind. Another thing that you can do in this position, or at least I guess if you're in a tank destroyer, is go over here. This isn't as good, but it kind of works. So if people try driving up all the way here into this middle raised location. I don't know what to call this. You can shoot them, but keep in mind there's no armor, and yes, you can pull right here, or I mean there's no cover, but you can pull right here. But if they decide to come get you, you're gonna die. Another important thing to note about this position, and especially about the other position back there, is that you, in a tank destroyer, you want to have multiple firing lanes, because if no one, like this location right here only looks at one lane, this small area. Now if nobody comes here, or if nobody's dumb enough to drive up here like this, you're not going to get any shots. So keep in mind that these positions are somewhat inflexible for tank destroyers. I don't think tank destroyers are necessarily very good on this map. It's kind of like a Lost Temple in that sense. But I mean, actually it's better than Lost Temple, but it's not much better to the point where I'd say let's run tank destroyers on this map. If I was in a public game, maybe in a competitive match, if there ever was one on this map, one tank destroyer at most, but the less tank destroyers the better. If you get stuck with 4 tank destroyers, good luck. Anyways, lots of different haul down locations here. I mean, you can this is not even haul down. You can side scrape off of this. You can side scrape off of this. You can haul down near these berms over here. Lots of different places to go haul down. This is great for like an Object 140, T62A, M48 Patton. Even heavy tanks can work out here, just because like you want to see these rolling hills like this that go down on an incline or a decline like this, because it just gives a lot of room for many different kinds of tanks to work this area. So this exists on the other side as well. If I just go over here, right, you still get this rolling hill. It's the same thing. I mean, you can take side scraping tanks here as well and do the business. There's lots of different ways to go about winning this. You can also push up all the way to their berm, as you can see that there's this berm right here, and then there's the other one that I was just at right over there. So you can push all the way up here, kind of getting close, so they have to poke around to get you, but you're still hauled down. A lot of different things you can do in this location. You can also, of course, use, this is a berm right here too. You can use this as a haul down location. As you can see, I'm poking my turret up and over, being able to fire at enemies and then just pulling back. That's pretty much all there is to this side of the map. There's lots of rolling dunes. It's not that difficult to exploit. Of course, there's a tank destroyer bush over here if you so choose to use it, but once again, keep in mind, if you don't have good camo and you think you're camouflaged, and if you get spotted, you're gonna die. Because guys, find me the nearest place of cover where you will be able to hide and not take another shot soon. There isn't one, especially, let's say you're in a Nashorn or something, or a Death Toaster, right? If you get spotted here, you're gonna take damage. So once again, I'm not saying don't use these spots, but it really is at your own risk. You have to, have a good feeling, saying, am I gonna get spotted here? So just use your good discretion, right? Use good judgment. Now, there's not really much going on in the spawns. There's just some rolling hills again. Let me show you the other light tank location. So you're going. If you have good gun depression, you can go like this and it'll work. However, tanks that have poor gun depression need to go like this, and they have to use this bush. Granted, it's not the best bush. Some of your indicators are poking out, or your spotting indicators are poking out, but if you don't go all the way up and you just want vision and not damage, this is good. You're still safe. You'll still be able to see people. But keep in mind, if they start flanking you like this, you're no longer covered by the bush, which means your side is looking at them, so it may not be the best thing for you. Now, there's three more things I have to go over about this map. That is the flanking maneuver, the ideal flanking maneuver, the middle area, and then the falls. Oh, and as a side note, there is a tank destroyer location back here on this spawn, right where I'm firing near those boxes and the palm tree. If you just sit back here and you only poke out when you're reloaded, you can get some good shots. But then again, if they decide to come get you, you can't run. So, I mean, granted, the angles that you're trying to defend from or defend against are more limited, but at the same time, you're more likely to die when you get rushed. So just use your discretion when using those areas. Now, let's go over the flanking maneuver and then the middle area and then the waterfall area as well. Now, the flanking maneuver is quite simple. It's just essentially the position you want to end up in when you perform your flank as a medium or a light tank. So blah, 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 I go up, I get my spots, I escape safely. You know, I've already shown you all that stuff. So if you want to go see how I do this stuff, you know, just go back early in the video. There we go. I spot, you know, don't do that. But, you know, I'm just going through the motions. Escape safely around. There's no one here. They're all going to the heavy side. Let's pump on the ground and get around. Now I am flanking. It is important to get to a position where I can just shoot them in the butt many times. This is where you start, where you kind of want to be. You essentially want to be in their spawn. This allows you to get shots into the heavies at the waterfall. It allows you to get shots at the people sitting around here, the people who want to go up by the corner and side scrape. This, you can also sit right here as well. This is quite good if you're in something that has decent amounts of gun depression. If you're in a T62A, this is probably not going to be you, even though it has a good turret. You're going to have to be a little bit more pokey and maybe go around here to get your shots off, like this. But this is where you essentially want to end up. On the other side, if I do the same thing, I go up and I get my spots. I get my information that they're all going to the waterfall side, or I clear, you know, their one medium over here, and I'm flanking. I don't do this. That's bad. Let's do it the right way. Go around like this. See that drift? That was amazing. But I'm flanking. I'm going around. All these rolling hills prevent me from getting spotted until it is too late for them. I'm coming this way, and then I get into a position where I can just abuse their terrain. So essentially, it's right where their spawn is, right? Like right where the diamonds for the spawns 1 and 2 are. This is where you want to be. You see this small little hill right here? This is great for a T62A, as you can just annihilate heavy tanks that cannot get away from you. Same thing, this is a little bit more dangerous up here, but you can flank all the way up here. I personally don't like this as much, as you're a little bit more liable to get rushed. And if they do push you, there's a little bit less time for you to run away. So, but this is another position you can use. You still get the same amount of shots. You can poke a little bit more in this location to get shots over here. But I would say go to the other spot that I showed first and then push up. Don't overextend first and then try to correct your mistake. You know, measure twice, cut once, right? So go here first, get your shots here, and then if needed, go to this location. Pretty simple stuff. So that's the flanking maneuver. That's where you want to be, essentially. You're pretty hard to dig out once you're there, but people sometimes may just turn around and start rushing you. So just be ready to run if that happens. Now, the middle area. The middle area is this raised location here. There are essentially 3 parts to this middle area. You can side scrape off of this in a heavy tank. This is for what? I can't even say E100 because that's not, you know, right. If you're in like a Tiger 1 or a Kuro or a T150. T150. This is great for a T150 right here. Just side scrape off of that. It exists on the other side. Another quick thing you can do in light tanks if you want early spots is you can just press your engine boost and just drive straight here from where you spawned, and it will most likely spot a few tanks and you'll also be driving to the heavy side and you'll be in cover immediately. So you can also use this maneuver on both spawns to save your hide sometimes, or if you don't feel comfortable going all the way out to the bushes there, it's just another maneuver you can use. Now, another important thing is if you have a good haul down tank, if you want to push into this middle area, this is a haul down area on both sides. So great for the T29 KV1S that has decent gun depression, surprisingly decent gun depression. Even in the LTTB, I can get haul down kind of and work this location. As you can see, it exists on the other side as well. If I just turn around slightly and drive forward, boom, there we go. And I'm able to fire and abuse this location. A common heavy tank location that people like to use in this middle area is here as well. You can also side scrape off of this. It's decent, but then again, you know, you're liable to get shot from the people sitting around here. So, and that exists on the other side too, so it's not invincible. That's really all for this middle area. If you can get here, you have to be very careful. In this location, you can spot this way for your bushes, but once you fire, you're going to get spotted most likely, so it's not always the best maneuver. You can do the same thing here. You can fire here, but you need to pull back after you fire because you will get spotted. Another thing you can do is you can sit here. Let's say I spawned on the north side and I'm attacking the south, and I drove up here. I can use this as haul down cover and fire at tanks that are trying to sit there. You can also see tank destroyers that are sitting around there. Tanks that are trying to cross, you can get easy shots into them around this area. This exists on the other side, so if I just turn my tank around and look at the other side, I can get the same kinds of shots. Tank destroyers sitting there, heavy tanks that are sitting around here, and then heavy tanks that are sitting all the way up here, like that. Easy shots, right? But at the same time, remember that you're poking your drive wheel, so if they decide to look at you and tunnel, and you happen to get tracked, and you don't have a repair kit, that's going to suck. So use your better judgment. So this is a very pokey kind of position. You can poke through camo, or you can poke with hard cover. Essentially your two options up here. And that's pretty much it. Now the final positions that I will show, there's 3 of them on each side. If you get stuck in a heavy tank, right, and you can't cross, you can go here. I mean, this is the least favorable out of all of them because you can't really get good shots, but it's better than trying to go out further and get flogged. So if you can't get here quickly, if you can't get to the corner quickly, you know, here is perfectly fine. If you have one person in the corner already or 2 people in the corner, don't clog the corner. Just go here and wait. And then I'll show you 2 other spots you can use on the heavy side. So the important thing to know is that the waterfall is the most important area on the heavy side. If you control that corner, you will win. It's kind of like the corner on Port Bay. If you win that corner, you will win the game. Most likely. Now, if I'm attacking, right, something that I can do instead of trying to get to the corner is go right here. This exists on both sides. If I go right here in a heavy tank, I can kill people crossing right there. I can hit people that are trying to poke up here. I can hit people all the way through here. If they get to the corner and are, you know, trading and moving back and forth, I can maybe get a shot at their back drive wheel. Something else you can do is go up here if you have good gun depression. This is great for like a KV1S, T29. You can abuse this as a haul down area, but keep in mind you're showing your side, so if anyone is staring right here, you're going to get shot in the side. So this is at your discretion, depending on the situation. But here, this is always a haul down area. Good for a lot of different tanks. As you can see, I can use it in the LTTB. I can use it in the KV4 if that was still a tier that was available for this map. I can do it in the KV3, the IS, the Tiger 1, the Tiger P, you name it. The VKP, I can do this position in a lot of different tanks. And of course, if you're trying to get to the corner and you get spotted and you don't feel safe driving any longer, just go here or stay here. This is where you want to be, and then you're going to be side scraping. However, I would recommend that even if you get spotted, you still try and drive, because the corner is just that important. Only really stop here if you know they've already won the corner, right? But even if like they're starting to climb up there, still climb up here and meet them, because they're not going to be able to push all the way around in time for you to get here. Now, this is the most important part of the heavy side. If you can get to this position and win and make good trades and win, you'll win the game. I used to come here all the time in an IS-6, and just slowly whittle and work people over. This is a test of how good you are at aiming your shots against other heavy tanks frontally. It also shows that can you angle properly, because once you fire, you need to back up and start angling and just be ready like this. Angle, bounce, pull up, fire, retreat, angle up again, bounce again. Ready, again, poke, fire. This is so important. That whole rinse and repeat kind of thing will make or break your gameplay over here. How well can you do that cycle? Something else you can do is on both sides, if you, regardless, if they flank behind you, or if they're still over here, tank destroyers like to sit on those ridges sometimes. You can come out here and fire at them. If they flank and you've won this area, right, you can kind of sit here and get easy shots at them like this, or here. You can also go on the other side and do this as well. I mean, granted, this side, this works on both sides, right? You can go here, fire at the corner where people usually like to poke. Of course, on this side, it's the same rinse and repeat thing. Fire, angle, bounce, come out again, peek, fire, back up, angle, stuff like that. And then after you've won this corner, you can just abuse both, small rock berms in this case, because you notice how it's high right here and then it slopes down like this, like a hill. You can use this as hull down cover. Just sit here, fire away, boom, retreat, and you're covered. Like nothing can hit you, but no one will be coming behind you to kill you, right? If you're like this, tanks can't suddenly appear out of the rock, so you're relatively safe compared to most other positions on this map. But again, hey, on the other side, sometimes you don't want to be stuck here, but in the event you get stuck, this is where you want to be. You can always also go here, just like on the other side, right? Same kind of deal. Has the same berm too that you can abuse. Fire at people driving across. Always try and get to the waterfall area. I don't know how much I can stress this. Always try and get to the waterfall area. Like this, boom. And I've showed what you need to do here. And then you can use this as well. Boom, firing at people going across. If they decide to push you, sometimes it may be wise to drive into the water like this. I've had to do this sometimes. If you're on low health and you're not going to live if you're going to keep brawling up here, it may be wise, like when they start pushing, to drive all the way down in here, because then they have to come and get you. I've had some crazy series of bounces when I've been in this water. It's like holy water or something, right? And granted, there could be other tanks here, but this rock kind of keeps the people sitting over there not being able to see you. So really you just have to deal with what's in front of you and then what's coming behind you. But most likely you'll have teammates around here that are waiting for heavies to pop around the corner. And then you can go like this in an IS-6 or an IS-3 Defender. And once they fire, you can just poke and fire at them and then back down again. So that exists on both sides as well, going into this water area. Sometimes it may be wise to go around like this. This should not be like an opening move, driving through this water. But, if they get caught in there, then just driving around like that and hitting them in the butt. Not too bad, right? But this is Mirage in a nutshell. Pick a side. Everyone should be going to one side. This is one of the maps where you can't split. So if you pick the heavy side, the waterfall side, have your spot in your mediums, and then run. Don't try and fight the mediums out on the ocean side. Similarly, if you call the medium side or the ocean side, don't have heavies go to the waterfall. Because if no one's over there, the heavies are at the waterfall, and they're not putting in any shots. And importantly for heavies, they're not bouncing any shots. They're not attracting any attention. They're just doing nothing. So everyone goes to one side on this map. Or just pick a side. You know, get your spots in the middle and then run to that side. That's essentially how you play the map. And then you use the spots that I showed you. That's essentially how you play the map. But anyways, if you liked that content, please hit that like button and subscribe for more. And if you didn't, please leave your constructive criticism in the comment section. As always, I appreciate the opportunity to share my passion with you today, and I hope to see you next time.